So let's say that this hypothetical scenario where this person that's watching is going to get into the industry. One, they're going to weigh out what their target market's going to be, who they're going to serve, how big their team's going to be, and they're like, okay, I don't want to think too far ahead. I just need to get started. So let's assume that they're smart enough to figure out, how to get their license, and they can go on ChatGPT and figure all that stuff out, right?
Yeah.
Landing their first client, how would you go about that? And specifically, let's talk about Miami and Southeast Florida. What opportunities do you see in this area? If somebody's watching the show wants to land their first client, how do they go about that? And then what opportunities do you see in this area?
So Miami is a funny market because Miami has an international vibe, right?
Yeah.
And with that being said, you have a ton of people who come here who are very important to this world. And they move with a low profile visually, so you don't hypothetically know who they are. But they do have a team. It may just be an armed driver. It may just be, a staff member who walks around with them and things like that. So you have all this money here, but you don't know who you're looking for.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you really don't know who you're looking for. I was on TikTok the other day, and they were showing all the top developers in the Miami market right now. And there's like 3 big names that I had never heard of, but these guys were worth billions of dollars, and they're showing their house on the internet. Like, oh yeah, he lives right here on this. And I'm like, a person like that, anytime I've dealt with high net worth individuals, even if they come to visit Miami, they don't ever stay in a hotel. They stay at a friend's property, a friend's estate of some sort. And you know what's always at that property? A worker, a guard, somebody protecting that property. Residential security is probably one of the fastest ways to get you a client. Because unfortunately, clients are always looking to go the cheaper route.
Right. So you basically say kind of like you can not hunt them, but like look for them online.
You can
and then go prospect that way.
You can prospect that way. All you have to do is just beat the other guy's billing.
Yeah.
You beat the other guy's bill rate, you're probably in there.
I think that's a good way in too, by the way. Like if you can find, maybe I'll just use the billionaire example. Like maybe you can find this billionaire that goes to this this residential place here in Southeast Florida. And you like look it up, and then maybe you do, I don't know if this isn't appropriate to go do a visit, but maybe you do a visit and you're like, hey, I just want to let you know that you're at risk, for somebody like coming to your property, because I just found your address. And if you want me to reduce the risk of somebody finding you and your family, here's my card. You know what I mean?
And
get yourself in that way.
And that's one route, but I wouldn't do this because it would be kind of shady to me. My character wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
But if I'm really hungry and I'm like a go-getter and I don't care, I'm going to go to the property. I'm going to expose every ounce of why that security failed.
That's kind of what
I'm going to document it and be like, hey, this is why you're exposed. I did this, this, and this. Here's my number and here's my service.
Yeah, let me fix it for you.
Yeah, man. But I'd be a dickhead about it. Like and that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I wouldn't do it. But like, that is one route you can take. Another route is just being in the room. It's like dating, right?
Go where they are.
Yeah, go where they are. If you want a rich husband, you don't go to AMC Theater.
Right.
You know what I mean? You go.
That's how this whole thing got put on my radar, was on top of like this phone call that I had with you. I was at an event, and before this, I was going to an event, and before the event, the guy that was hosting it, high net worth individual, he asked me, he's like, hey, do you know anybody that can do security? And then I went to the event, and the guy that he ended up hiring, like this guy had his pistol in his cargo pocket with no holster.
Yeah, he's a putz.
Oh my God. He was like, bro, if you have anybody, you need to let me know, because this is what I ended up going with.
Yeah. It's tricky. That's really one of the reasons why I do this podcast is because I travel and I see the security standard, right? And we can easily criticize, but if we're not doing anything to help it, then why are we even speaking upon it? So my thing was like, let me just get out here and put people in front of the camera who are reputable.
Yeah.
And let them be from different regions and different areas, so that you don't have to just think about when you see my podcast, oh, we'll call X because he has a podcast about security. Like, no, I'm showing you people that are in your area that you can call, that you should be calling, because they're going to get the job done and they're going to do it the right way. So that next time you show up to an event, you don't have to worry about getting shot in the ass by the dude with the cargo pants in the pistol, because the minute
accidentally drops his gun.
yeah, the minute you think that, oh, it can never happen, that's when it happens.
Yeah.
You know, my easiest details, or what I thought was going to be an easy day, is where I've faced the most adversity in regards to almost losing my life. And that's something you have to be realistic about. You know, what are you willing to die for?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't think you served this country to come in and die on American soil through some BS.
I mean, that's one of the things I was telling my friend and my wife after I had the conversation. It was like, you know, I came back from my deployments and I just want peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not necessarily looking to be on edge all the time. Like that's already my life. You know what I mean? Like, do I want to really add fuel to the fire on top of that? So it's definitely like a really important thing to consider, you know, is like, it's going to put you in that mental state.
Even if it's not like necessarily death, but injury, you know, you can get hurt doing this job. I've had injuries doing this job. This job takes a toll on your body. I had physical therapy yesterday, you know, and my physical therapist was like, all right, so what are we working on today?